What's good, everybody? Ace of all trades here, and we got another triple threat podcast. Now, to my left, we got Siggy Gun. Say what up to the people, Siggy.
What up, people?
And then to my right, we got the former STL boy, now Tampa Bay boy, UTXJGThe Don. We'll say what up, JG.
Hey, it was good. It was good.
All right, you guys. So we're just gonna go straight ahead and start talking about these topics. We love the debates you guys have been having in the comment section. Keep that up. At the end of the day, everybody is entitled to their own opinion, and that's all it is opinions. But when we present facts, don't get so mad about it, okay? So first, let's get to the NFL. Now, I personally want to start off with the former San Diego Chargers moving over to LA. Now it's going to be the LA Chargers. You have the LA Rams, LA Lakers, LA Clippers. You have multiple teams in LA. What do you guys think about the move from the Chargers leaving from San Diego to LA? JG, since you are a Rams fan, I will start with you first.
I mean, now we got two losing teams in LA, so that's all. That's awesome. I guess the only real difference is the Chargers they're like one of those teams that can consistently go like 8-8 and have a shot in the playoffs, but they still never win anything. A lot of people don't see this at all as a good thing. A lot of people in LA are definitely not San Diego fans, and I'm surprised there was still some Rams fans even hanging around LA, to be honest, but they were holding on to that legacy. I understand. San Diego is a different story, though. I don't think that they're going to receive them well, and they already took a major L because of that logo that they put as soon as the news was announced. But I seen it coming, though. I mean, the Chargers want to obviously go to the new stadium, so that's the whole reason why they went. So it is what it is, but I don't think that they're going to do too well in LA, to be honest. I think that more people are going to hold on to the Rams over the Chargers. So we'll see how many seats that they end up selling when they end up. What are they going to, the StubHub arena? Like,
yeah, they're
30,000.
Yeah, they're going to the StubHub Arena for right now because the Rams, they're playing out of where UFC plays.
LA Coliseum.
Yeah, they Coliseum.
Yeah, so it's
How did the
about to be a
Rams get
mess.
the Coliseum with what 75,000 plus, but that stadium that their Chargers are playing with only 30,000?
Because we got there first.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, we share though. They could share
there before.
Yeah.
We actually could, to be honest, because I mean the Jets and the Giants share a stadium.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever said anything about that. That's a huge ass stadium. MetLife is fucking huge.
MetLife Stadium is huge.
Honestly, we could. I just think they're being lazy, to be honest.
Now that logo was so bad they decided to scrap it. Did you hear about that? They took it out.
Yes, sir. I did.
It was bad. They
Now,
put a flag for it.
Here's what I want to talk about with the Chargers. It seems like, why didn't the Raiders? It was the LA Raiders before. It was the LA Rams before. It just seemed like it was perfect sense. I think the Raiders should have been the ones that went back to LA, and the Chargers should have went to Las Vegas if that's the case. If the Raiders do move out, I feel so bad.
I would have loved that.
I would have. Trust me. I mean, I would have loved for the Chargers to come to Vegas, but they're already Vegas, the city itself, is already pushing so hard for the Raiders to come out here that's why it makes sense why the Raiders didn't end up going to LA, because originally what it was supposed to be, St. Louis was going to stay. It was going to be the Raiders moving. Yeah, it was going to be the Chargers Raiders because they were going to have a joint stadium, just like how the Jets and the Giants have MetLife. They were going to have a joint stadium in California with the Oakland Raiders and with the San Diego Chargers.
Well, they're still going to have the joint stadium with the Rams and Chargers. That's going to happen.
It's still going to happen, but I don't know.
It should have been. I mean, the LA Raiders saying makes more sense, and the LA Rams used to be
you
there.
Still have fans there that are holding on to the
everybody
legacy.
would have appreciated it. Obviously, Ice Cube would love the Raiders to go back to LA. He'd love the bigger gear.
Of course.
So I think it would have made more sense. I mean, LA is way bigger market. You can make way more money if you're the Raiders in Los Angeles than you can in Las Vegas, I would think. And also with Las Vegas, there's just so much. I don't know. There's going to be so many rules. I got a feeling that the team is going to be limited on how much money they can make there, because I think people are going to be very concerned about gambling, about shaving points, and a whole bunch of slew of mess. And the reason why Las Vegas was never able to get professional teams in the first place is because there's just so many people that can control it. So it's going to be interesting.
Like, yeah, because you have the Golden Knights there now, the new professional hockey team, which plays in the T-Mobile Arena, which they recently just built. That's the thing; they're looking to try to break that mold where they can bring professional teams over. And if the Raiders do come there, I have a feeling there is going to be some type of scandal. I absolutely believe so, just because of how much influence these people that own the casinos and everything like that. There's definitely going to. I wouldn't be surprised 10, 15 years down the road if the Raiders do move to Las Vegas, that there's going to be a point shaving scam. Absolutely.
Something. It's gonna be something. I bet.
It's definitely going to be something. But the Chargers are now in LA. Now I do feel bad for San Diego, because the city of San Diego, they really wanted them to stay. They just needed a new stadium, and it wasn't happening. So if they weren't going to get a new stadium,
San Francisco, they just lost the Raiders and the 49ers. So I mean, they lost everybody.
That's very true. But hey, I mean, LA Chargers, we in there. LA Lakers, now I have to worry about everyone be like, well, you're a San Diego Chargers fan and you're an LA Laker fan. Nope, now I'm just an LA Charger fan and LA Laker fan. And if we're gonna take
and a Las Vegas Raiders fan.
No, absolutely not. And if we're gonna take an L, we're gonna take an L. But I will say, when I first saw that opening GIF for how they changed the bolt into an L, I was like, oh my god, you guys just walked yourself directly into a walking meme. Like, really? Like, that shit looked horrible.
It was so horrible.
It was
they
bad.
Really thought that was. I mean, it was the LA Dodgers logo with the lightning bolt. I mean, it was so stupid.
That is exactly what it was, and whoever did that should be ashamed of themselves. Seriously. But
it almost looked like it was like a first grade contest. Come up with the next logo, where they picked it out of the air.
Exactly. And speaking of the NFL, now we talked about the moving situation. Let's get into the playoffs. How about them Cowboys? Wow.
Well, we talked about it. Flock called that. They got in their own way. I think, though, I'm still shocked, watching that game, about that penalty call that made up. What was it called? No participation in the huddle. I've never in my life, in all the years I've watched,
that was an interesting call. That was definitely an interesting
I've never seen anybody call that. First of all, it could be argued that he wasn't even in the huddle. It looked like he was running to the huddle, was on the outside, and turned right back around and left. I've never even heard of that, though, that you could be penalized 15 yards, whatever it was. I mean, it was a big penalty for something unsportsmanlike conduct. Didn't participate in the play. I mean, what kind of trash is that?
Honestly, it sounded like a bullshit call to me.
I mean, honestly, have you ever seen that in your life? Have you ever heard of it? First of all,
no,
I've never had.
No,
and it was a momentum killer. I mean, that was a momentum killer for. Was it 3-7 at the time, or was it 14-3? I mean, they were on a roll. Offensively, they kept pushing the ball. They just got stopped by stupid penalties and just untimely weirdness that happened. But in the end, the game was fine. And I just think that Jason Garrett, he's just a terrible coach, in my opinion. He has Zeke Elliott, who runs great the whole game, and yet with only 45 seconds left, already in field goal range on a 3rd and 13, whatever it was, they decide to throw instead of running the ball. And I was made a point to my buddy that if they would have ran the ball, they still had the Packers still had 2 timeouts left. Even if they were to stop the clock with timeout immediately, at least they made them use a timeout. So now they only have 1 timeout left heading into that final drive. And obviously, when he got sacked at the end, which almost looked like it was definitely going to go into overtime, that timeout would have been very important, because then they would have never have had that chance to kick a field goal when Jared Cook made that catch in 30-plus yards. So that timeout was huge in the end, and they could have had the Packers use it if they would have just ran the ball at the end of their last play before that field goal. So it made no sense to not use Ezekiel Elliott there. So I think the Cowboys just blew it, and it was all Garrett's fault, in my opinion, in both the end of the halves, the second quarter and in the fourth.
I mean, that catch, though, too, that was an amazing catch. Like, I feel like that was that pass from Aaron Rodgers, and the way he caught that ball to stay in bounds was, if they end up winning the Super Bowl, which I doubt, but if they end up winning the Super Bowl, that will be, besides that penalty, that catch will be talked about for a very long time.
Man, Jared Cook never did that in St. Louis.
Yeah, but then again, he had what's his face throwing to him, not Nick Foles, Bradford.
Yeah, so I was gonna say he had a better quarterback. I mean,
It all goes to show that a great quarterback can make anybody look good. You get motivated. I understand.
True. And that's
They really
and that's the difference between being a good quarterback and a great quarterback. Because when you can be a great quarterback, you make your people around you so much better. But since we're talking
look how good Aaron Hernandez is with Tom Brady, and nobody knew who he was before. Obviously now everybody knows who he is because he killed somebody. But whenever Gronkowski got hurt, Aaron Hernandez was a nobody, and then all of a sudden he became just as good as Gronkowski.
Tom Brady has always had nobodies on this team.
Yeah,
I know, but he makes them look good.
Turned everybody into a superstar.
I mean, he had Wes Welker, and Wes Welker is definitely a nobody. It's not a nobody. He was somebody. He was good.
He's still a nobody.
No, Wes Welker wasn't really relevant compared to the other premier back. Like nobody really talked about Wes Welker like that. People ended up getting a hold of Wes Welker because of Tom Brady.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like Edelman. Nobody cared about
Peyton.
No, nobody knew about Edelman. Nobody really knew about Gronk. Only thing
Nobody
we had was Chad Ochocinco.
Woodhead.
Chad. Right, you know about Woodhead. Like, that's the only premier
Randy
people
Moss
we had.
at one time. Like
that was the only time he had a premier star in a receiver was Randy Moss, and look how great they were when they were.
And
together.
you see how that was great, but still, like he ended up being short lived with that system because Bill Belichick doesn't play that. Ochocinco definitely didn't work with that system. If you want the ball a whole bunch, you're not getting the ball.
Nah, fam, you gotta be a role player. And
all right, so let's talk about it. Atlanta, Green Bay, who you got?
Shit, honestly,
I want Atlanta to win, but I know that Green Bay is gonna pull it out. I think Aaron Rodgers is way too high right now.
Yeah,
I think that was the momentum.
That momentum.
Yeah, beating the Cowboys was the Super Bowl.
Like Packers was like Jordy Nelson. Did you see what we were doing without him? Jared Cook stepped up in a huge way. Like it was crazy how good he stepped up in the game when they needed him the most.
And also, Matt Ryan just seems to choke in this game right here.
Absolutely.
Now the Falcons can put up points. They've been putting up a lot of points, but I don't know if Matty Ice has it in him.
36-20 against Seattle, though. Were y'all expecting that against the Seahawks? Did y'all think that? Because I had Seattle winning it. I thought Seattle was going to win it, but they clearly didn't.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I thought that that was a game where I can understand if Matt Ryan chokes, but he didn't. So he also has momentum. It's just Aaron Rodgers just beat the Cowboys, and that's got to be like an ultimate high without Jordy Nelson. So they did it without their main weapon.
Exactly.
So their defense is also spotty. So is Atlanta's, though. So if it's going to be, a shootout, I trust Aaron Rodgers more, especially since if he has the ball with 10 seconds left, it seems like he could score.
I agree. Julio would have to step up. Julio and Freeman would have to step up in a big way. But I don't know if Julio got it in him because once again, he had a foot injury. So who knows if he's going to be 100%. Like that man has not been 100% a long time in his career. So when he's on. But with that foot injury, I don't trust it. I feel like Aaron Rodgers can do way better with his wideouts compared to Matty Ice. So
yeah, he has a huge arsenal. So are we seeing a Green Bay New England Patriots Super Bowl, or is
that's what a lot of people want to see?
Pittsburgh going to beat the Patriots? What do you think? You don't think so?
No way. No, because their best player is Bell, and he's not going to do much against the Patriots.
I hope Bell goes for over 300 yards. I know it ain't going to happen, but I really hope that the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Patriots. But I just
see that's what this is a team that they actually hope for that, because usually you run the ball to keep the quarterback off the field, right?
Exactly.
But the Patriots can score so easily with whatever time they have that they're doing them a favor by draining the clock because they don't really have a great running game. They have Deion Lewis as a great pass catcher. Blunt is somebody that can get you the short yards and touchdowns, don't get me wrong, but they're not somebody that's going to get you 150, 170 yards like Bell can. But Bell, since he is a clock eater, but they don't score all the time. They kick field goals. That's not going to work against the Patriots.
I'm surprised it worked against the Chiefs. To be honest, the Chiefs are generally the ones that kick the field goals.
They're the field goal kickers also. They both have they lack the talent to just score touchdowns at will like the Patriots.
And then let's talk about that Chiefs Steelers game. So literally one of the last drives by the Chiefs got negated because of a hold. And Travis Kelce was not feeling that call at all. That man went off, but I can't say that I agree with him. I can't say that the refs did a bad job. It was clearly a hole. Like, everybody saw it. So
Yeah,
it
but
just
what are
happened,
you
man. Eric
thinking?
Fisher did end
It's
up
just
losing the game
frustration.
for him. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I understand, man.
Like holding on one of your last drives to go to the AFC Championship, and you like do a stupid penalty like that. Like, what are you thinking? Like, move your feet. I always felt like anybody that holds or anything like that cannot block because they're too lazy or they're tired to move their feet and stay in front of their guy. That's always what it is at the end of the day. Like, you get your ass up and actually learn how to block and stop holding people. I don't know, but
I just think it's one of those things where you just hope that the end of the game doesn't come down to a penalty call, and he was just frustrated that it did.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
But then again, that's not as bad as the Dez catch against the Packers a couple of years ago.
oh boy, that I still remember that catch. Boy, was people heated. But enough about this.
Going back to the hold on before we end, but going back to the Packers Cowboys game, how do you feel about them giving away that first down on the very last drive, spiking the ball?
Who?
The Cowboys. Because I felt like they needed that extra down, especially after what happened. I don't think that spiking the ball.
Well, that's what I was talking about. The poor clock management. They should have ran the whole. They shouldn't have passed those. It was both halves.
You have a powerhouse running back.
They kept trying to throw it. Throw 3 downs without wasting time, and they ruined it. They have Ezekiel who was running. That's the thing. It's not like he wasn't running the ball good. He was running very well.
He was running the entire game. The entire game.
And just like Tom Brady, you can't give Aaron Rodgers that much time. And that's exactly what he said. He said you gave me too much time. So look what I did.
Way too much for no reason. If they would have ran the ball, like I said, it would have forced him to do one thing: either waste time to where he couldn't have made that play at the end, or force him to use a timeout to where he still wouldn't have been able to have enough time to do that at the end.
Yep. So you guys got Green Bay over Atlanta, and you guys saying that New England is going to be in the Super Bowl. And
New England's going to win the whole thing. And I don't see anybody beating them.
And this is going to be after the controversy of what happened with New England last year. Now they're going to come back and potentially win the Super Bowl after not having Tom Brady for the first 4 games of the season. After this,
this was Tom Brady's first game, and they still put up 30-something points.
Yeah, after this, no one can really talk shit about Brady other than him being a little bitch. Other than that man is great. No, I'm sorry. I like, as an athlete, I respect Tom Brady in a way, but he still bitches about everything. You know he does. The second he gets
Tom Brady and Bill Palpatine, bruh.
Right, but if this man wins another Super Bowl, like, my God, after the team started with him without 4 games, and everyone was like, oh, they might go 1-2, 2-2, or something like that. Those are the games where they needed to lose. But they just were on a streak. It's ridiculous. So they actually might win this Super Bowl. I mean,
told these Patriots fans, don't worry.
Right.
They were so worried.
They never were worried.
Right. Now
Patriots fans have no reason to worry. It's us that have to worry. All the mortal teams, we have to worry. When we lose our star player, we worry. When they lose Gronkowski, they say, "Oh, no problem. We got everybody else."
Exactly. Like, you lose Gronk, and Gronk is
lose Gronk, you get Martellus Bennett. Freaking Bennett, bro.
Right, like this team is ridiculous. But
look, you lose Lewis, you got White. You lose White, you got Blunt. You lose Brady, all of a sudden Gruppalaka, whatever his name is.
It comes out of the picture, and then you're still good. So I mean, it's ridiculous. But I'm seeing the Patriots and Packers Super Bowl. Probably.
I think it would be a good game, though. I think
it would be a good game itself. I mean, it would be dope to see Green Bay win it. To get Aaron Rodgers.
I think everybody wants that to happen, but it's just so hard to beat them.
First Super Bowl matchup.
But it probably won't. But that's going to be a lit Super Bowl for sure if it's New England and the Packers. Now, for some odd reason, New England just shits themselves. Tom Brady does something, I don't know, and Pittsburgh just surprises the world. And they're in the Super Bowl. Who wins it?
Well, it'd be a rematch. We saw the Packers beat the Steelers, a few years ago. I think Pittsburgh has a better team overall, in my opinion, with the defense and running game. A more complete, balanced team. But the Packers' offense is just so unstoppable right now. I just don't know if if it'll be enough the Steelers to try to outscore them if they were in a shootout. It's kind of like the Falcons. I'm not sure, even with the Falcons' great offense, if they can outgun the Packers right now.
Gotcha. Now, still speaking about football, but let's change the topic over. The playoff championship game between college football for Clemson Tigers and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Clemson won it. And
I told you.
Yeah, you called it because I thought Alabama was going to win. Because if you guys don't know, Alabama is like an NFL team in college. Like, I don't care. Them boys are drinking something and making them look like NFL athletes when they're in high school. So that was one of the best games in a long time. And we did say in a previous podcast that it was going to be a close game. It wasn't going to be a blowout, but I called Alabama. I thought Alabama was going to win, and they didn't. What did you guys think of the results of the game with Clemson winning, with the interception at the end? What do you guys think? Because Alabama was ahead for most of the game. Then towards the end, and Clemson just came back. I mean, Clemson scored 21 points in the fourth quarter.
This is what it's like the Cowboys. Alabama is like in the same position as the Cowboys. When you're expected to win, your mistakes become more of a magnified, right? And then you start panicking because then all of a sudden you're afraid that something might happen. And sure enough, it did. Alabama got in its own way also. They just made dumb mistakes at the end. They had chances to win and put it all away, and I think there was a penalty call that kept Clemson in that final drive before they got that touchdown. In special teams, again, they got killed with special teams. They let what's-his-face return that very well to put him in good field position. It just happened a lot with Alabama like that at the end. They controlled them again in the first half. It was the same in the first game, too, the first time they played, last year.
Yep.
14-7, I think, halftime. I think last year actually was 14-14, but it always seemed like Alabama controlled what was going on. If they scored, hey, don't worry, we'll score right now. They were always the ones that were ahead, and Clemson had to be the ones to tie them. In the end, it looked like that might happen. Alabama pulled ahead, and all of a sudden, Clemson's on their heels. But then Clemson just scored they went on a nice little run, and by the time Alabama looked up, it's like, oh crap, we're behind.
Yeah, like I said, Alabama scored every quarter. The only quarter that Clemson didn't score was the first quarter, and Alabama seemed like they weren't going to let up, but Clemson came back all of a sudden and scored 21 points, and they ended up winning. That shit is crazy. Yep. What do you think, JG?
I couldn't call that in the very last second. I really couldn't call that. But I knew it wasn't going to be a blowout whatsoever just because of what happened last year. But this was Alabama's game to lose, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dabo definitely wanted to win, and it was pretty lit. Like, it was, I don't know, it was kind of boring first half, but second half, it definitely picked up. I actually had the chance to go, but I decided not to. I'm kind of glad, too, because I don't care about any of these teams.
Oh, man, you should have won. You could have stormed the field.
Nah. I don't care about any of these teams. When I don't care, I just don't care.
Mizzou, he don't care, bro.
And it was cold, too. It was a little bit cold that night.
He's a fan of the game, bro. He would just enjoy it.
Yeah. Like, if it was any other day, I would have been like, yeah, I go. But I just decided not to, so. It is what it is, but I'm glad that Clemson did win. I just don't like Bama continuing to run the table, so I wanted them to lose so bad, and I'm glad they did.
It's not like don't get it wrong though. It's not like Bama's not going to be back next year.
Of course they still have the best odds to win.
Yeah, absolutely. But Clemson got that momentum, and they got them back from last year.
Nah, Clemson's going to be trash next year because they're going to lose.
They're losing a lot of their players, and Bama's not.
Yep.
The Jets, the need Watson.
I want to see who's gonna get Mike Williams.
Right. I'm curious, but I wanted to talk about this briefly. I don't know if you guys know about this or heard about this. So it's been announced that there's going to be a new pro football league. No, not the XFL or anything like that. It's going to be called the Pacific Pro Football League, and it's going to be for non-NFL eligible players to debut. So. It looks like it's going to be a 4-team league. It's going to be based in Southern California. It's supposed to pay an average salary of $50,000 for 8 games. It's going to be under professional rules, protocols, and styles. Each team is going to have 50 players. So basically, if you're out of high school and you're in college, or if you've already participated in college afterwards, it looks like it's going to be a big market for people that go to community college. What do you guys think about this new league? Do you think it's going to last because it's supposed to debut in 2018?
No, or is the NFL sanctioning this?
Well, according
Like, is it like a D league for like like NBA has? Is it something that the NFL is it something like a minor league system for the NFL? What is it?
So basically, okay, so this is how it works. The Pacific Pro Football League is for players who have graduated high school, but they are not
No,
in
I know that.
college.
But I'm talking about though. Is it an NFL brand? I guess is the way to put it. It's kind of like
Oh, I know what you're
the
saying,
U
like the CFL.
NFL.
Like if it is it
Like
part of?
CFL, yeah, that's actually independent. But whenever like when Euro had the Euro League, that was actually NFL sanctioned. So it was NFL. They ran that thing. Does the NFL even have anything part of this? Is that they
I don't
touching this
think
at all?
I don't think NFL has anything
Then
part of
it's gonna
this.
fail. It's
But
gonna fail then because
but they do have the access obviously to go and like recruit some of the players and whatnot. Now I feel like this is good for people who necessarily don't go into college but want to be able to have the opportunity to train and get ready for the quote unquote the league and get invited to the combine. I mean, like I said, it's for people who graduated
all
high
right.
school.
Well, let's just put
They're
it
in
this way: the
college. What do you guys
XFL
think?
had billionaires running it, so the XFL had a lot of money to try to compete with the NFL. Right? It didn't work, and only two players that I can think of ever made it into the NFL afterwards, and that was He Hate Me. He went
Oh
to
my
the
God.
Panthers, and Tommy Maddox, who actually was all right for the Steelers.
Yeah.
But other than that, can you think of any other players from that league that went to the NFL?
Nah.
No.
I mean, who's going to even know about the Pacific League except for anybody in California? Maybe if the Chargers and Rams are that bad, they'll pay attention, but I don't know.
I don't
Apparently,
know. I mean,
NBC has a hold of this. I'm seeing their logo, and it says Sports Engine,
mm,
and then I see the NBC logo under it. So I'm pretty sure they have their hands in it.
I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, I would say though, like this may deter a few. Well, if you're not a big time high school player, a high school prospect coming out, going into getting a scholarship, academic or a sports scholarship, and you want the opportunity to play in this league, you can do so. It's interesting. It's gonna change some stuff up for high school as well, I believe.
And I don't know. I still, like I said, even on that, if you're not even good enough to make it in Chattanooga, Tennessee college, then what makes you think you're going to be good enough to make it in this? You know what I mean? I mean, come on. There's Division II players and stuff like that are in the NFL now that are doing good, but I mean, they have to go through. They have to climb a tall mountain to just get to the NFL. I don't think what this is basically saying is, hey, you weren't even good enough to make it to a college. You really think they're going to the NFL?
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, academics is very important and everything like this. But now, that this is coming up, this is going to get people that be like, well, no, I don't want to go to college. I want to go to the league. But I didn't get into any other school. So, I don't know. I don't think that this league is going to last. Maybe 1-2 years. Tops, we'll see. Apparently, Don Yee, who is Tom Brady's agent, is among one of the founders. You have Ed McAfee, Bradley Edwards, Jeffrey Hauser, and John Chung, who are going to be the league's officers. So, I mean, we'll see.
I don't know. Here,
$50,000.
another good example. Maurice Claret. He was a beast running back for Ohio State, and he was so hell bent on wanting to leave early that he didn't believe in the rules about staying until you're sophomore, junior, whatever. And he messed up, and he decided to go to the CFL instead, quit college, and whatever happened to him. And he was a beast. I mean, he was like top 5 pick out of high school, and he didn't do nothing. I think he got picked in the 3rd or 4th round, and then he didn't even make it.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, we'll see. Like I said, it doesn't come out to 2018, but I just wanted to briefly talk about it just because it was announced. Now, let's just go over to enough about football. Yeah, like he said in the background. Let's get over football and let's go to UFC. And Mayweather declining $25 million, was it? Offer? What do you guys
Yeah,
think
they ain't
about him
offered him
declining?
25.
Yeah, what do you guys
That
think
was
about him
such a
declining 25
cheap
million?
offer. That was a Walmart special that Dana White thought he'd get Mayweather. Mayweather is worth way more than that, so why would he even think that he would accept that?
I don't know, man. I just think that was hilarious. The fact that it was like, oh, I got him. I'm gonna offer him $25 million. Why would you offer a man that's one of the best defensive fighters of all time for pound fighting, and for one of boxers, and just want to offer him $25 million? This man, how much did he make from the Pacquiao fight? Like
300 million.
Like 300 million, and you're gonna offer him 25 million? That's laughable. I mean, this man Team Money Team. I mean, come on, like TMT, like come on, fam. Like you have to do better than this. 25 million. How much?
Apparently Dana White's reasoning behind this is he was saying that it's more on the side of McGregor. He said that McGregor isn't worth that much, so he couldn't give or didn't want to give, I should say, Mayweather that much.
And also, it goes back to what we talked about when we first talked about the Conor versus Mayweather. If it's going to be boxing, then it's not even up to Dana to dictate the terms. Now, if it was UFC, then that's different. If he's trying to say Mayweather come fight for 25 million as a UFC fighter, then yeah, maybe Mayweather has to accept that because he's not going to make 300 million in the UFC ring because everybody knows that he's not going to be the same trying to, grapple and stuff like that.
He'll get murked. He'll get murked at UFC.
Exactly. But I'm thinking that's the reason why that might be the reasoning behind it. That makes more sense. You're not going to get 300 million to be a UFC fighter. You're only going to get 300 million if you're a boxer.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean,
he didn't even get that in his last fight though. Found out Andre Berto. Yeah. Like he only got that fight Pacquiao because Andre Berto isn't anywhere near as big as a card as Pacquiao, and everybody wants to see that one. So
yeah, but I don't even really want to even see a Conor McGregor Mayweather fight at all. I don't want to see it. Like I don't, just because like Mayweather's one of the best defensive fighters ever. I mean, especially if it's boxing, this man is just gonna tire him out by dodging all of his punches and shit. That's it. Like I don't want to see it. It's gonna be a boring fight. And then Mayweather's going to tire him out and probably knock him out. If he doesn't knock him out, he's going to last rounds with him. And then it's going to be a wrap. End of story.
It's just going to be challenging to make the fight work because, I mean, it's two different sports. I mean, obviously, Conor's not going to want to be a boxer. I mean, I know he got his boxing license in California now, but I don't think he's going to want to do it. I think, if anything, if they go in the ring and they try to box, he might throw a kick on accident just because that's what he trains for. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
He's going to think it's a street fight.
It's going to be forced of habit. And,
yep.
Muscle memory. And he may not even try to do it on purpose. Like it's just second nature.
Yeah, it might be a defensive reaction or something. They just kicked right in the face.
and there you go. Match over with. People wasted millions of dollars buying tickets and everything like that. Mayweather wins again, 50-0, I guess. Whatever. So I mean, whatever. I really.
This would be for 50, right? He's 49-0.
Yeah, he's 49-0. So this would be for 50.
Can't believe he stopped at 49. That just sounds so
right. Like, please go for 50. Just make it halfway to 100.
But who would he fight? Though that's the thing. Who would he fight?
At this point, I don't know. I mean, they want to fight Triple G. I don't really want to do that. Other than that, like, there's not really anybody else who's up for grabs besides McGregor. Somehow came up in the ranks, but. Other than that, I think that's the only reason. Like I didn't even think Andre Berto was a good matchup.
McGregor in boxing for his 50th win, he deserves to have an asterisk next to that name, to that win.
But that's the thing, though. I don't even know if it would like
boxer.
It'll be exhibition.
I just think it'll be exhibition. Yeah, I don't even think it'll count.
That's why I said I don't want to see it because it has to be exhibition. What are you gonna do? Give McGregor a belt? Are you gonna give him a boxing belt if he so happens to win?
Right.
If Mayweather wins, it doesn't matter. He still retains everything. He has everything to lose and nothing to gain.
Yeah.
For both of them.
If you're not giving them the money that he wants, he obviously wants more than that. Now McGregor, like he made $3 million in his last fight. Now for UFC standards, that's really, really good. Yeah. But he ain't making nowhere near Mayweather money. $25 million would be amazing for him, but not for Mayweather.
Yeah, Mayweather, $3 million for Mayweather is pennies, dog. Not even like, man. I don't even want to talk about that. Just all.
Yeah, that's how much he throws in football bets. He's gonna throw $3 million next week in the Patriots.
Now, speaking of that, since I'm back here in Vegas now, I my people usually see him like all his whole squad go to play sports bets. This man will always throw like 90,000, 100,000 bets on just one game, the over or the under, and he's either getting it back or not. And it doesn't matter to this man. Like he will lose a ticket, like 3 or 4 straight tickets at the sports book, and then come back and make all his money back that he lost in like 2 bets. That's why I said that's ridiculous. So $25 million, that's nothing. That's chump change for this man. Which
G.I. go out on the basketball court, man. You could bet on us. Bet on what team gonna win. You could do that. Wait, spend your money on something that works.
Right, exactly. Oh my God.
I go out there and ball out for 90,000.
Facts. But speaking of basketball with the NBA, let's first talk about Melo trade rumors. Now, rumors came up that Melo wanted to basically leave, but from what I've seen, apparently he's talked to Phil Jackson and he's saying that he wants to stay in Nick and he wants to stay in New York.
Let's talk about why it came up.
Yeah.
apparently Phil Jackson was talking to some sports guy, right, that's out in New York, like a back channel, basically feeding him information saying that it might be time for Melo to leave New York. Like almost like he regrets giving Melo the contract. So that's why Melo's like, hey, if Phil thinks my time in New York is over with, then maybe we need to discuss about me leaving. And of course, when that happened, everybody started talking about the Clippers with Blake Griffin trade. But started talking about the Cavs with Kevin Love, because apparently Melo will only waive his no trade clause to those two teams, Clippers or the Cavs. So then they had a meeting today, and apparently him and Phil Jackson cleared the air, and then he reaffirmed that he wants to stay in New York for the rest of the. So I don't know if it's really a good thing for the Knicks, but then again, if you're forced to pick out of those two teams, I don't want Kevin Love. I'd rather have Melo at that point, just because I think Love is injury prone, and same with Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin's a great player, but I don't even know if he'll fit. We have Porzingis at the power forward spot, so where would it put Blake? Small forward? I mean, I don't think that's a natural position for him. He'll get killed. So I don't know what would make sense. It won't be those two teams. What do you think, JG?
It's Ace is so quiet. Wait to say something.
No, I was waiting on you to say something, dog.
Okay. So Phil Jackson has also been on record saying that Carmelo doesn't know how to run a triangle. And Phil Jackson's all about the triangle, so he wants Carmelo to run it. Like, obviously, Carmelo is stubborn. That's not how he plays. He's not going to run a triangle offense. It doesn't matter how many times you try to put him in practice and make him run the system. He's not going to run the system. So obviously Phil Jackson is upset. And what makes things worse, y'all aren't winning. And Porzingis right now is hurt. He's having leg problems. So it doesn't make anything better, because Porzingis, obviously, I feel like he is going to be the number one option. Obviously, Phil doesn't want Carmelo to be the number one scorer, but Carmelo is just a pure scorer. He's not going to do anything else but score, and that's it. So a lot of people are looking at Carmelo like, well, if you don't want to run the system, then why are you still here? Carmelo said that he's loyal to the Knicks, so that's fine. I don't know if this is more money talking or what. But a lot of people have been criticizing Carmelo because he had a chance to leave and he didn't leave. As far as those two teams, again, I don't feel like he would work, or again, it would be bad on the Knicks' part to trade any other any other power forward for him. That just not is not right. It's not going to fit. Porzingis has that role. I feel like he solidified it this year, especially. So I just don't think that any of those are any good choices for him. Like, there needs to be another team come into the mix, then it might be a sweeter offer. But right now, nah. Like, so I feel like Carmelo is just kind of stuck, and they just want to keep him just because, or Carmelo just wants to stay just because maybe he just
wants the money.
Simple. Maybe he just wants to stay there. He just wants to stay in New York. Maybe it's Lala again messing with him, and they always want to stay in New York. So who knows? Who knows what's going through his head? But in any case, I really don't care about the situation. Melo's going to do what Melo's going to do. He already got three gold medals, and he said
he got way more.
Yeah, and
he got his money too.
So it's way more important to him than winning a ring. So.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't really have much to say. I don't really care where Melo goes, to be honest with you. He already got the best championship of them all, and that's back at Syracuse. So that's all good.
This guy.
So let's go ahead and talk about the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. They recently went against each other, and it looked like they were about to get blown out by like 50, but they ended up coming back. Now, how are you guys thinking now? We're a little bit further into the seasons now. Like, you have the Warriors, which are 35-6.
First of all, the coming back part, you do realize they like almost benched the whole team after that, right?
Yeah, I do.
They still lost by damn near 40, and Kevin Love got hurt.
Yeah, I have Kevin Love on my fantasy team.
Well, all right, look, obviously, we saw this before, too. Regular season doesn't mean anything. Everybody already knows it's going to come down to a 3-1 series, right? And the fact that the Cavs came back and won 4-3. Now, this reminds me of the Yankees back in their dynasty era, the 90s, the late 90s. They didn't care about the regular season. If they lose, everybody made a big deal about it, but all they cared about was just making it to the playoffs and then dominating from there. And that's what the Warriors and Cavs are trying to do. I don't think they really care that they get blown out or not. It's all about the playoffs. Same with the Spurs. The Spurs, they look like they could be, a team that can win all the time, and then when they lose, everybody freaks out, but they're going to be there in the end. So they're just I don't see anything in this game that makes me think that the Warriors or the Cavs can, are less than the other. They're both great teams, and we both know that in the end, when everybody's full strength, it could go either way, literally, because we know that the the Warriors could have won if it was, let's say, Draymond Green didn't get suspended, etc.
Right.
Or maybe the Cavs, if they were full strength the whole time, they could have won. I mean, they just seem like an evenly matched team, and it's going to come down to 7-game party again.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Like I'm looking into between the Eastern Conference standings and the Western Conference standings, and obviously the West is more competitive. Absolutely, because I mean the Cleveland Cavaliers are obviously the number one team in the East with 29 wins, 11 losses, where you have the Warriors 35-6. You have the Spurs right behind them 31-9. Then the Rockets 32-12, and then the Clippers and so on, and then you have the Lakers down below. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see when it comes to the playoffs. Do I think another championship game between the Warriors and Cavaliers is going to happen? Yeah, most likely. Well, I mean, we'll see.
It's absolutely. I mean, that's the one thing about the difference between the NFL and MLB
unless the Spurs
and NBA.
comes out of nowhere.
The Spurs can, but it just doesn't seem like
too.
they had the same.
Spurs and the Rockets.
Rockets always choke.
I still don't feel like the Rockets have enough depth.
They always choke in the playoffs anyway.
I mean, we can see. And finally, last with the NBA news that we're going to talk about, your boy CP3 out for another 6 to 8 weeks. What is going on with this man? Why is he so injury prone? Why is he always getting hurt? What's good with Chris Paul?
I can tell you why. Contract. This is contract year. It's like Derrick Rose, and that last year, he's just playing it safe. It was a thumb sprain. I don't know, but apparently he tore ligaments, so he's now thumb surgery. And I bet you he's not even going to come back 6-8 weeks. He's going to think about the contract that he's going to try to get. He doesn't want to risk anything. And it wouldn't surprise me if he takes it way easy and doesn't even play. Like Derrick Rose, whenever he hurt his knee, he came back during that contract year. He was, oh, no, I can't play. Everybody was begging him to play. He didn't do it. It might happen again. I think it might happen again.
Very interesting. He better come back though for fantasy's sake. I got him.
Hey, that's why I picked up Austin Rivers.
I need the points on me. I can't drop him. He the first person I picked.
Yeah, you can't drop your first pick unless he out for the season. But like, I don't know. I hope everything goes well with Chris Paul, because I like Chris Paul. He's definitely a good player. He's definitely a great athlete. He represents the NBA athletes very well on and off the court, so hopefully he gets it all together. But I mean, we'll see. You guys got any closing statements, or you guys want to talk about anything else?
I'm good.
No.
Nothing.
Actually, there is something. We missed something.
What did we miss?
We were supposed to talk about me destroying your fantasy team, and you thought it was a close game.
Look here. All right, so I'm not gonna talk about it because you got it. You won. All right. I was behind.
Siggy's a big bully.
Siggy's not a big bully. He just has consistent players, and in fantasy basketball, like you don't need the top name players. You need players that are gonna give you consistent numbers day in and day out. And Siggy's team is full of them. And that's why he's
playing the fantasy like the stocks, bro. He be projecting who's gonna exactly go out. He picks players. He picks players to go in at the right time.
That's exactly what I did.
Yeah, there was a point in time when I was beating Siggy's team like a couple days in, but that's because either everybody was benched or they didn't have a game or they were hurt. And then once he had his full squad, they threw like 300 points in a game. I'm just like, what? But I'm not surprised. So you got it. That wasn't what we were supposed to talk about. So on that note, this has been Triple Threat Podcast. Let us know what you guys think down in the comment section below. There's going to be somebody that's going to get triggered or upset about what we've said. Hey, it's our opinions or facts that we're talking about.
It's going to be all about the Cowboys. Everybody's going to talk about the Cowboys.
Absolutely. I'm the only person that's really going to be mad about, the Cowboys and, Alabama is going to be Steven, but he's going to
he took 2 L's in about 2-3 weeks, so this man been having a rough month, a rough January.
Yeah, been a rough January for Alabama folks, man. And if they a Dallas Cowboys fan too, damn. But it's all good though. Welcome to the club with the LA Chargers now. But thank you guys for enjoying the podcast. Let us know what you guys think down below. We are out of here.
Peace.